Browns lose 20-3 to the Dolphins here in their home finale at Huntington Bank Field. And we're going to start with the quarterback situation. Dorian Thompson-Robinson played today. He struggled once again, turned the ball over twice, a fumble and an interception. He also wasn't helped by 3 drops from Jerry Jeudy. But Mary Kay, Kevin Stefanski did at least leave the door open with his non-answer today to maybe making another quarterback switch before the Browns go to Baltimore. Of course, that would likely be to Bailey Zappe. So we're kind of in wait-and-see mode at quarterback again.
Yes, we are, but I just finished writing a column saying that I think they should go ahead and start Bailey Zappe. I think they've seen what they need to see from DTR. It's not that he doesn't show some physical traits that the Browns really like. Maybe they can bring him back again next year and continue to develop him. But as far as this season is concerned, they've seen enough. He's turned the ball over 4 times in his 2 starts, and it's just not helping. They've gone from 7 points to 6 points to 3 points in the last 3 games. I don't think it can get any worse with Bailey Zappe. And I also think if you have another quarterback in the house, why not throw him out there and see what he can do?
Yeah, Ashley, early in the year it was this team can't score 20 points. Now we've regressed to the point where this team can't even hit double digits. And it's not all Dorian's fault, but a lot of it does have to do with the quarterback play.
No, and I mean, today Dorian was not helped by the fact that they did not have David Njoku. They did not have Cedric Tillman. Jerry Jeudy dropped at least 3 passes I think we came up with that we saw today. So it was not, I guess he was not set up for success, I should say, in that way. But as Mary Kay said, I think you kind of know what you're going to get with DTR at this point. And Bailey Zappe has done some pretty good things throughout his career. Obviously, he beat the Browns here a couple of years ago when he was still with the Patriots. And if you went through the trouble of signing him, bringing him in, you might as well give him a chance in a game that means nothing for you, really, in terms of your wins and losses, and see what he can do.
All right, more history today for Myles Garrett. 14 sacks now. He is the first player in the history of the NFL to have 14 sacks in a season, 4 consecutive seasons, Mary Kay, and he has, despite this team's record, put himself in the conversation for the sack title and forced himself likely into the conversation to repeat as Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes, he really has. And I asked him on Friday, do you think the football team needs to be winning for you to win NFL Defensive Player of the Year again? And he said, no, that shouldn't be the criteria. It should be who is the best defensive player on the field. And of course, I didn't ask the obvious follow-up, do you think that's you again this year? But of course he feels that way. The Browns feel that way. And everyone around here truly believes that he should repeat that award. But it looks like he has a good chance to get the coveted sack title that he's never gotten before. I think that would be a big feather in his cap. He's now tied with Trey Hendrickson right now, the leader, Cincinnati's leader, at 14 sacks, and they both have 1 game left. We'll see how it goes.
And he's going to have to do it against Lamar Jackson. He is not a very easy player to sack, so it's going to be a challenge for Myles. But, Ashley, I think it just speaks to, even in this season of where it's been struggles, and Myles really hasn't focused a lot on the individual accolades. He's really been more focused on the team's record, the team's results. But I think deep down inside, he's probably enjoying putting up these numbers.
I do too. And I mean, we know this year Myles has been so focused on legacy when he's talked to us, and he encourages the young guys that way as well in terms of what there is to still play for. And yes, winning a Super Bowl would obviously be maybe the biggest part of his legacy. It's something he also doesn't have. But things like Defensive Player of the Year wins, things like winning the sack title are also a huge part of your legacy. And I think even though Myles kind of wants to downplay that right now because the record is 3-13, I think deep down he obviously knows that too.
Okay, if you love the draft, things went very well for the Cleveland Browns today. The New York Giants lost. That's the important thing. The Titans and Jaguars played. One of them, I should say the Giants won. They lost by winning is what I meant to say. The Titans and Jags, they played today, of course, with the Jags winning. Those were 2 teams ahead of the Browns. So the Browns move up to number 3 now, Mary Kay, in the draft order. And the important note here is New England holds the number 1 pick. And New England has a young quarterback that they like. So the Browns suddenly find themselves in a position where if they really like a quarterback in this draft, they're going to be in position to either take him at number 3 if nothing changes, or maybe move up to 1 to take the guy they like.
Absolutely. And that's another reason why not start Bailey Zappe against the Ravens? Not that I think that necessarily either of these guys would have a great chance of beating Baltimore, but it just can't hurt to lose this game. That's for sure. But yes, to be at number 3 right now, looking at moving up some more in draft order will be beneficial for the Browns. If you're going to have a crummy season like this, you should get a little pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and that can be such a high draft pick that you set yourself up for tremendous success for the next decade if you play your cards right.
And the important thing to note here too, Ashley, is Baltimore is playing for something next week. If they win, they will be AFC North champs. We, of course, know that means a home playoff game for the Ravens. So it's a very important football game for Baltimore, which means, it sounds so weird to say, the Browns are set up to lose next week, which could be good.
It could be. And I think now, and you wrote this after the game, the biggest question for fans is probably, do you trust this regime to find that guy? And what's interesting is they really haven't had to go through this before, right? Baker Mayfield was already here when they took over. Then they were proactive, traded for Deshaun. So it's interesting. We're going to potentially get to see them go through that evaluation process with these rookies in a draft class that, right now people are kind of looking down at a little bit, or it's just, I think, an interesting challenge for them going into the spring.
Okay, we've already started draft talk here, and there's still one football game left, but that's what happens when your team is 3-13. We will cover everything that happens leading up to that draft all the way into April, everything from this game too, at cleveland.com/Browns.